The views and opinions expressed by the guests of this podcast are their own and do not reflect the views of the hosts, any particular faith group, or the agency of the Department of Defense.
Life transitions have a way of presenting the opportunity to reset our identity, reassess our values, and process emotions, becoming the witness observer of our experiences instead of letting them define us.
Safe spaces have to be purposely created. They don't just automatically exist. And to have those safe spaces, someone usually needs to go first and be the brave one and create brave spaces. I no longer classify emotions as bad or good, or negative or positive. I view emotions as teachers, that we are not them. We experience them. We have them. It's part of this mortal existence, but they don't define us. Me opening up and showing my authentic self, it's this unspoken invitation for those around me to do the same.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Guiding Light. I'm Jenna Carson.
I'm Sierra Larson.
And today we are so excited to have our very special guest with us today, Meagan Skidmore. Meagan, welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Jenna and Sierra. I am so happy to be here with you. And thanks for having me on.
It's truly our pleasure.
Genuinely.
Life transitions have a way of presenting the opportunity to reset our identity, reassess our values, and process emotions, becoming the witness observer of our experiences instead of letting them define us. As a life transformations coach, Meagan Skidmore embodies what she teaches, empowering her clients to navigate their own life transitions and step into their fullest potential. She has shared her experiences in front of the camera in 2 upcoming docuseries, Legacy Makers and Writer's Island. Meagan helps people awaken to their truth, crush the boxes that confine them, step boldly into their power, stop lying to themselves, and live authentically and unapologetically through her coaching program and community, Living on the Other Side of Maybe. With a holistic approach, Meagan guides clients to use emotional alchemy to help them connect with their bodies and heal their inner wisdom. This creates space to truly embody their core values and live in alignment. Born in Arizona, grew up in New Mexico and Indiana, went to school in Utah. Now Meagan lives in Texas with her family, where she continues to offer needed support and tools to turn what seems a life crisis into a beautiful metamorphosis. Meagan, welcome again. So
You need to shorten my bio. That was kind of long. Sorry.
No, it's great. We get to get a view into who you are and where you come from. So you've lived in a lot of places, you've had a lot of experiences, and this allows you to really connect with so many of your clients. So tell us a little bit more about this idea of emotional alchemy and what that means.
Absolutely. I love this new modality or newer, I guess, that I was introduced to last year from a fellow coach, and she's become a mentor. She's a master teacher. When I was going through a particularly transformative period, I had several sessions with her, and at the end, I was like, what in the world is this? Like, how did you do this? It was the day that I dropped off my youngest, who is my kiddo, who's transgender, at college. And it was just this emotional day because, high school had not been the experience we were hoping. And so this was him truly spreading his wings. And I was excited. I was nervous. My heartstrings were they weren't just tugging. The contractions and the release were just so intense. But the crazy thing is I didn't really have to explain a lot of that to her. Emotional alchemy is, we tend to spend so much time in our heads. we're very cognitive. We've been conditioned to just stay here where we think it's safe. We're trying to reason our way through whatever circumstances in life we're experiencing. Emotional alchemy is this bold invitation to drop into our bodies and to connect what is our kind of our primal, our natural state, to just be at one here. And what I invite my clients to do in a session is I close my eyes. Sorry, that's how I do a session. I actually close my eyes with them because you're really trying to attune to what is going on here. And so that lessens stimuli coming from outside of me and them. And I start with a body scan, to, heighten your awareness of what your energy is doing, where it's flowing or fluid versus where you might feel it be stuck or stagnant, maybe even pain. A lot of times old pain will show up in similar places. I've had people not even realize that until a session, like, oh, yes, I have felt this before. And sometimes they can pinpoint maybe when they first started to, sometimes not. But as we explore and I ask them to describe it in various ways, it's kind of a personification of whatever this energy is. It's an energy body, and it has messages. Through a series in this session, I'll invite them to get curious, ask questions, show love. What does it need? What is it here to teach you? This is the synopsis of it. But I have had some beautiful moments of breakthrough with clients where all that energy body needed was to be seen, to be heard, we could say, have some compassion shown and witnessed. We can be the witness and observer of our own emotional and mental and even spiritual pain. My group, my community is because we heal in community.
Mm-hmm.
And that is most effectively done when it's a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
We can't always, safe spaces have to be purposely created. They don't just automatically exist. And to have those safe spaces, someone usually needs to go first and be the brave one and create brave spaces. And in this community, though, to be a part of it, there is an agreement that all participants adhere to, that we are respectful, we show love, we listen with interest and curiosity and not with judgment. And we are able to help see one another and move through whatever lingering, whatever difficult things might be happening. And it's really remarkable. Hopefully that gave you both an idea of what that is. It's, the alchemy historically is the changing of raw metals into gold. We're changing, we're transforming those raw emotions into something really powerful and beautiful and refined.
Yes, yes. A lot of what you're talking about to me sounds like mindfulness and awareness. And these are taught in so many different spiritual and philosophical paths, these tools of witnessing and allowing sensations to
Mhm.
be without identifying as them. So, like, I may experience pain, but I am not pain, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that
Exactly.
your work sounds a lot of what I've been trained to do in yoga therapy with clients. And in yoga therapy, we learned how important it is to have individual work and group work. So I love that you offer that to your clients. And it sounds like clients can come from any backgrounds,
Mhm.
any experience level, and come and learn to,
Absolutely.
and it's a practice of learning to be with oneself and I think love oneself.
Mhm. Yeah. We're not really taught. There's so many external stimuli that can take up mental space for us, take up emotional space. And it's easy to get disconnected and
Yeah,
stay that way for extended periods of time.
right, right. Yeah, and there is so much healing that happens when we realize we have all this inner wisdom. We have these abilities when we slow down, right? So I love
Absolutely,
that.
we do.
Love that you're offering that. And Sierra, did you have a question? It was
Oh, I was just gonna say I love that the part about alchemy and the rawness turning to gold, and what that reminds me of is actually in therapy is when we take these emotions and we kind of, in a sense, hear them enough to where they have meaning to us, and they mean what the thing that they mean to us is this is the answer to something that we've been blocked on, or
Mhm.
a challenge or a barrier to moving forward. There are times where I will work with a client and they're just kind of like stuck in this, they're in this space, in this thought, in this belief, in this emotion. They're just kind of stuck. And when we really sit with it and talk about it and say like, what does this mean, and how is it informing you, kind of like you were saying, like how is this pain informing you, and we
Mhm.
talk about it, they're like, I never thought of that. And it's like you see the light bulb go off. I never thought of that. And I love the imagery of that rawness being turned to gold. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
the gold of like this is it, this is like, I don't know, just the thing. It's almost like I can't, I don't have words for it, but it's just like this. I I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know how to articulate that
I
moment with a
I
client.
think I understand what you're saying. I no longer classify emotions as bad or
Mhm.
good or negative or positive. I view emotions as teachers.
Mhm.
And so when we can see it that way, and what is there for me to learn versus, ooh, I don't like that. That feels uncomfortable. I'm going to distract myself, or I'm going to pretend it's not there, or I'm going to whatever it is, you know, shop, watch TV, or scroll for a little while so I don't have to think about that. I read a book recently, 90 Seconds to a Better Life. Most feelings just, they need to just be able to sit there for about 90 seconds. If we can make it through 90 seconds of what really is just a lot of discomfort, we can, then we can process our feelings, we can learn, we can evolve, we can grow and expand and make ourselves available to all of that wisdom, like you've both been talking about. So I totally get what you're saying, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for putting words to that, because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't have them. But I do like that concept of sitting in the discomfort. And that's actually really, I've never heard about the 90 seconds.
Hmm.
Because you're right, a lot of people will try and distract from that discomfort. And so I'm curious, techniques or things that you've seen that you do to help people tolerate that discomfort while they're feeling it.
Hmm.
What are some suggestions? Not to push it away, but how to
Yeah.
hold it for those 90 seconds.
Hmm. So in a session, that's obviously different than if it's space between a session or when I'm maybe not, we're not connecting in a like real time type of way. Um, but a lot of times, like you mentioned, Jenna, oops, you can sit in deep thought, meditation, and offer yourself love and words of, this is normal. This is being human. There's nothing wrong with this feeling. It makes sense that I feel XYZ because I have experienced this thing or because this happened. And like one of you said, we're not our pain. I think it was you, Jenna. we tend to not separate ourselves from our thoughts and our feelings. We forget that we are not them. We experience them. We have them. It's part of this mortal existence, but they don't define us. And sitting in those beautiful pauses. Who said this quote? It's the space between the stimulus and response. That's where our power lies. And if we can extend that space, it's a practice, increasing our tolerance for whatever that feeling of discomfort is like for you, and realize nothing's gone wrong, really. It might feel very wrong and very awkward or yucky or, fill in the blank. It's just you're strengthening those muscles, really. You're strengthening those tolerance muscles.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing is sitting with the non-judgment, validating the feeling through, your past experiences, validating on that level, validating of it just being a collective human experience that everybody experiences. So validating that, and then practicing sitting in that space more often and building your tolerance to it. Those
And
are,
the more,
yeah.
yes, and the more you extend that pause between the stimulus and the response. Stimulus means the circumstance. Maybe you had a conversation that was uncomfortable. Maybe you saw somebody that you haven't seen in a while. Maybe you received a phone call or an email. Maybe some notification about your finances or your children or loved ones or whatever. That's what I mean by stimulus. And the more you can extend that space and get grounded, then you can move forward with intention and do all those things, yes, that you mentioned. Normalize, validate. Yes, of course you're going to feel this way. And what do you want to do moving forward? What is the next best step for you? We get caught up in, I'm here, but I want to be over here. When really all you need to know is what's just the next right step for me. And the knowing comes in the doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Megan, I'm not sure if we read the same 90-second rule book. I had read one several years ago. I can't remember right now the authors and the title of that book, but they recommended in those 90 seconds recognizing where you're having a reaction in your body. So like, whoa, I am feeling angry and I'm tensing my shoulders. I'm feeling
Mhm.
my traps, or like, whoa, I just made fists, or whoa, I feel like something's caught in my throat. I'm having trouble breathing. And so that's just another tool I was thinking of as you were sharing. And you said that already as you talked about your work in
Yeah.
sessions, but even in those 90 seconds, like if you're having a tense conversation with someone, or like you said, you get a phone call or something, you can step back and say to someone like, I need a minute, give me a couple minutes,
Yeah.
and just feel what's happening in the body, deep breathe, let it be. And the authors of that book argued that if you do that for those 90 seconds, that will pass through you. Like the sensations will pass
Mhm.
because you allow them to be and you observe
Yes.
them.
Yes. Yeah, yes, they also said that. I bet it was the same book. Yeah, if we can just make it through those 90 seconds, is it going to completely go away? Probably not, but you'll get to a place of maybe more groundedness, clearer thinking, and definitely all of those physical sensations, those physical vibrations that you're feeling are part of that experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where your wisdom lies. I know your training, you talked about maybe their throat gets stuck feeling or heavy. Chances are there's something where maybe they need to speak up or speak out or advocate for themselves or others. And so, yeah, it makes sense that that's where the pain is, or the sensation or the stuckness is showing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, can you just say more about that? That is so fascinating. I've
Yeah.
I've heard about different, emotions being in the body, but I love that thought of, needing to speak when your throat gets tight. What are some other body parts and meanings?
So I had a session with a client just the other day, and as she was explaining what she was feeling, it was interesting because what brought her to the session was some old pain having to do with her psoas area. But that came up mostly when in movement. So we were sitting and there was different pain coming up. And as she described it, starting from the solar plexus area, this gray, cloudy, it was a pulsating feeling though. It didn't just, stay here in the solar plexus area. It emanated out. And as it emanated out, it got darker. It was more of a whitish gray here, cloudy. And then as it emanated out, it got more dark, more gray, and eventually black. And there was some crimson on the outer parts. And then as she got even more clear, she described her hands kind of, she said they're just red and bright and warm and kind of from the forearm down. And I got really quiet and just listened. And the impression that I had was this has to do with your life's work. She's in a transition, and a lot of the people that I work with are authors, and not all of them. And as I was talking, helping her explore this pain and the meaning, she knew exactly what it was. She says, "You're right. This is about the book. I am resisting. I am stuck in writing." And that's obviously what her hands do, whether it's typing or actual pen and paper. She's been in this place of resistance because of how it will put her true self out there on paper, we'll say, or digital medium. And all of the feelings that brings up and her experiences. She's I don't know if she specifically describes herself as a psychic or a medium. I think she does, but I think just some of that, probably how she might be viewed or misunderstood, what was coming up. But it was a beautiful session, and we were able to talk through a lot of what would come up, and I would follow up with deeper. And I only push as far as I can feel the person, and there's always an option to say, "I'm not sure," or I'm not ready to answer that," or "I need a pause,"
Yeah.
because you want it to be productive too
Yeah.
and helpful.
I'm just amazed how this is really a science. This is like an ancient science because
Feels that way.
you mentioned it is because it's truth, right? And
Mhm.
our bodies don't lie,
Mhm.
and philosophers have studied these connections with the body and the emotions. And so when you were explaining this solar plexus and this sense of self, and that the root of her experience is fear of how the book will portray herself, I can't help but think about yogic philosophy, how the solar plexus chakra is your sense of self and your self-esteem. And so it's just, I mean,
Isn't
so
it amazing? I
yeah,
just love
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's all connected. And so Sierra,
Mhm.
like, if I'm just thinking about your question, if readers want to go further, I would say go study some yoga philosophy about the chakras, the energy centers of the body, because the throat is your speech. And if that's stuck, then you've been tamped down. And if your third eye is
Mhm.
blocked, you've been denying your inner wisdom and higher
Mhm.
self. And like if your crown chakra is blocked, then there's something about needing to open to the divine, and your channeling and your belief in channeling with the divine. So all of these centers have like a meaning, and so I just love hearing Meagan about your work because it's like in my
Yeah.
experience that's true. So
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that very much, a lot of overlap there, a lot
Yeah.
of similarities.